Today, we're going to talk about Social Security spousal benefits. This is a show dedicated to getting a spousal benefit on a spouse that you're currently married to and that is alive. Now, there are ways to get a spousal benefit from Social Security on an ex spouse, but that would be for a separate show at another time. Additionally, if you've lost a spouse and are a widow or widower, you can also get survivor benefits, which is for another show and another time. So let's talk about the rules of getting a spousal benefit from Social Security. You fundamentally are claiming your own benefit and then getting an addition based on your current spouse's Social Security. So the earliest you can take this would be age 62. The reason is that in order to get a spousal benefit, you have to claim your own and then get a step up based on your spouse's Social Security record. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be 62 in all cases. There are an exception if you have a child under the age 16 or who is disabled before age 22. The next rule is that you must be married for 1 year. So you can't just get married to somebody and then immediately begin to claim a spousal benefit from Social Security on them until after you've been married for a year. There are some exceptions to this as well. If you have already been receiving a spousal benefit on a previous marriage, you can continue. And also, if you get married to the parent of your child, you can also begin quicker than the 1 year rule. Now, here's the key point that many people don't realize is that in order to claim a spousal benefit on your spouse, you need to have your spouse filed. In other words, your spouse must be claiming benefits in order for you to receive a spousal benefit. So, if a spouse delays Social Security to improve their own record and the amount they're going to get, or maybe to improve the survivor benefit, they might be delaying past their full retirement age, to age 70, in fact. This does not allow you, as the spouse, to claim a spousal benefit. They need to have filed in order for you to claim. Now, what are you going to receive? Many people realize and they've heard, oh, I can get half of my spouse's benefit, which is higher than my own. Well, this is technically true if and only if you are waiting until your full retirement age. And you're not getting half of your spouse's benefit, you're getting half of your spouse's primary insurance amount, or PIA. PIA is what they would get at their full retirement age, which for most people is 67. So, what you're fundamentally getting is up to 50% of your spouse's full retirement age benefit. This does not include delayed retirement credits. So, if your spouse has delayed taking Social Security and they're now 68 years old and claim, they're getting more than their PIA. They're getting the extra delayed retirement credits for waiting past their full retirement age. That does not impact your Social Security benefit, spousal benefit, because it's capped at the primary insurance amount, their full retirement age benefit. Also, it doesn't matter when your spouse claims benefits. As long as they filed, it opens the window for you to claim spousal benefits. However, if they file early, your spousal benefit is not going to be reduced. Much like if they delayed to 70, your spousal benefit would not increase. When your spouse files does not impact your spousal benefit. That's a very key consideration. Many people get confused and think if my spouse files early at 62, they're reducing my spousal benefit. In fact, they're not. They're reducing survivor benefit, but not necessarily the spousal benefit. The spousal benefit is highly dependent upon when you file your own benefit and then get the spousal benefit. If you wait until your full retirement age, which let's say is 67, you'll get half of your spouse's PIA, regardless of when they filed. As long as they're filed and you file at full retirement age, you'll get half. But if you decide that you want to claim your spousal benefit early, meaning before your full retirement age, you will get a reduction. The Social Security office has a formula for this, but basically it's a reduction every month you take it early. The earliest that you could take a spousal benefit would be age 62. What you're doing at that point is you're filing for your own benefit. Remember, you're filing for your own benefit and then getting an increase based on your spouse. If you file at 67 for your own benefit, you may not even have a benefit. You might be saying, Dan, I don't have my own benefit. So how can I file for it? This is why spousal benefits exist, to give the spouse something if they don't have their own work record. But even if you have your own work record, you have to file against that and get an increase. So if your own work record is higher than half of your spouse's PIA, you're not going to get a spousal benefit. You'll get your own. The only time you get a spousal benefit is if your work record, your own benefit, is less than half of your spouse's PIA. So if you wait till 67 and you file for your own benefit, and then your spouse is also filed, they will calculate what half of the spouse's PIA is and increase your benefit on top of that. So if your benefit is $300 and your spouse's benefit is 2,000 PIA, you are eligible up to 1,000. So you'll get your 300 and then get an additional 700 added. So you'll get two different payments in one. If you claim early, the formula is here. You can go to ssa.gov and you can actually run the calculations yourself online. But fundamentally, it's a 25/36 of 1% less for every month that you take it early. And that's only the formula used for taking it early for the first 3 years, meaning age 64 to age 67. If you take it earlier than 64, say at 62, then you get an additional 5/12 of 1% taken away. So you get less of a reduction in the first 2 years that you take it versus the last 3 years of early withdrawal or early claiming. It's a complicated formula in that the percentages are different as it progresses, but the bottom line is the earliest you could take it is 62, you would get 32.5% of your spouse's PIA, and the latest you can claim spousal benefit would be your full retirement age, and the most you'd get is 50% of your spouse's PIA. So it'll fall between 32.5% and 50% of your spouse's PIA, assuming your own record is less. Now, keep in mind that the Social Security Fairness Act, which was passed in January 2025 and goes retroactively back to 2024, opens the window for many people who didn't claim a spousal benefit because they were getting a government pension. They were subject to GPO or WEP, which have been eliminated. If you fall in one of those categories, you might now be able to claim a spousal benefit where you wouldn't have received anything in the past due to the government law. Now that it's gone, you might actually receive something. So it is worth looking into. So the bottom line is Social Security spousal benefits are a key and important concept for people to understand. It's very important to know that it doesn't matter when your spouse claims as long as they do claim. It's more important to know when you file because that's going to determine what your decreased amount is. You are maxed out at 50% of your spouse's PIA, but just keep in mind, this is a lifetime decision. When you file for Social Security benefits and when your spouse files for Social Security benefits to open your window for spousal benefits, it is something that you're planning for the rest of your life. So make the decision wisely. Think about all the options. Make sure you talk to your financial advisor and be sure to think through all the options and get a report. We offer Social Security maximization reports, so feel free to contact us, and we look forward to hearing from you.
All matters discussed in today's show are for informational purposes only.
This show is not investment advice.
Dan Riddle nor Dolphin Financial Group are affiliated or endorsed by any government agency.
Investment advisory services are offered through Dolphin Wealth Management, Inc., a registered investment advisor in the state of Florida.
Insurance products and services are offered through Dolphin Insurance, Inc.
Dolphin Wealth Management, Inc. and Dolphin Insurance, Inc. are affiliated companies doing businesses as Dolphin Financial Group.
You should talk to someone at Dolphin Financial Group before implementing any of these strategies or ideas.